The Story of Bashar al-Assad and the Terrorists, written August 27, 2012. Bashar al-Assad in July of 2012 said, "If you want to know who killed, you first have to know who has been killed. You cannot tell about the criminals without knowing about the victims. Those victims you are talking about, the majority of them are government supporters. So how can you be a criminal and a victim at the same time? The majority are people who support the government." Bashar al-Assad said, "If you want to know who killed, you first have to know who has been killed." The answer is 1, self-referential, and 2, assuming that if a fact of a part of a whole, then a fact of the entire thing. And 3, presupposes that killers are unidentifiable as having killed, lest a dead person be positively attributed to them. Bashar al-Assad said, "You cannot tell about the criminals without knowing about the victims." The first object is knowing about the victims. People know about the victims. This is a false affirmation, which is narcissistically oriented to chastise the questioner, a signal of projective identification. Therefore, the casting off of some description to be attributed. That attribute is cannot tell about the criminals, especially because the question asked was of who has killed the thousands of civilians. So Bashar is identifying preconsciously that people cannot tell about the criminals who has killed the thousands of civilians, such as his regime, an unconscious admission of guilt. His whole answer is based on the pre-consciousness that people cannot tell about the criminals. "Those victims you are talking about, the majority of them are government supporters," said Bashar. The statement could have a double meaning, and the next sentence shows you that it does in fact have a double meaning. So how can you be the criminal and a victim at the same time? The making of a victim can be supportive to the well-being of the regime, and the ones against the regime are considered criminal. How can you be a criminal and a victim at the same time? Therefore, the only true victim is the supporters of the regime. The majority are people who supported the government, and a large part of the others are innocent people who have been killed by different groups in Syria, Bashar al-Assad said.